On May 1st, 1999, a cartoon show debuted on Nickelodeon, and little did the network knew that this cartoon would soon be one of their most popular and marketable franchises ever. That show is SpongeBob SquarePants.
For new tunes, your Nickelodeon!
Oh boy! Now's my chance!
SpongeBob SquarePants is coming in July! Be there and be square!
The show is widely known for its memorable characters and humor that kids and adults can enjoy together. SpongeBob was also known for being one of Nickelodeon's cash cows. Whenever you go to Walmart, Target, or even your local grocery store, you will see that little sponge no matter where you go. There were DVDs, t-shirts, toys, books, video games, comics, cereal boxes, fruit snacks, TV sets, Band-Aid, candy, and that's the stuff I can think on the top of my head. Furthermore, this show makes up $8 billion annually. Yeah, it's no wonder that Nickelodeon has been keeping this series afloat for more than 17 years, which is currently in its 9th season. Nickelodeon still has no plans to end this series, and that most likely will be the case. This sponge isn't going anywhere for a very long time.
But you know, the show was originally going to end. How was it supposed to end? Well, that was supposed to be with the 2004 movie, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Intentionally supposed to be the series finale, this movie did a lot of more things that you couldn't put in an 11-minute episode of SpongeBob. One of those things is that SpongeBob and Patrick travel outside the Bikini Bottom. I mean, yeah, we had Rock Bottom, but we haven't seen something like this to this extent. When the first teaser came out, people, including myself, were hyped.
3,000 yards closing awfully fast.
Mother of God.
Don't you just love playing submarine, Gary? Prepare to dive!
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Captain, sir, you're never gonna believe this.
For a second, I thought I heard what? I thought I heard singing, sir.
Now, I just want to make it clear that I loved this movie as a kid, and every time I see it, I get so nostalgic for it. But my question is that, does it hold up after 12 years since its release? Well, we're about to find that out as we take a look at the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Our movie starts off with Nickelodeon's version of Pirates of the Caribbean? So, we have these pirates who got tickets to go see the SpongeBob movie. Where did they find the treasure? Did they use the Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt board game, which is based on a real treasure map that's buried under the ocean floor? Also, where's Patchy? He's surprisingly nowhere in this film. You would think that they would put him alongside with the pirates. A cameo would at least be nice.
In fact, a lot of these pirates act like Patchy in a way.
They act very over the top and not to be taken seriously. Ah well, at least they sing their version of the SpongeBob theme, which is actually kind of charming.
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. You're our favorite indeed. Being a pirate is our right to lead. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
They all rush into the theater and act like freaking maniacs in the lobby.
If I were an employee working there, I would totally not freak out.
They rush into the theater and our movie finally begins. So yeah, this movie kind of uses a framing device, and to be honest, I find it completely unnecessary. Mostly because it's barely used. And the other reason I don't like it is, well, we'll get there when we get there. So our movie finally starts as we see the Krusty Krab in lockdown.
This got interesting.
We see SpongeBob coming out of a limousine. Wait, what?
It started out as a simple order, a Krabby Patty with cheese. When the customer took a bite, no cheese!
Yep, this is totally a dream, but that's okay, because we would have one of the greatest SpongeBob characters of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Phil.
I'm the manager of this establishment. Everything is gonna be just fine.
I'm really scared, man!
SpongeBob, being the hero he is, put the cheese on Phil's Krabby Patty and saves the day. SpongeBob, I think we have another problem. So SpongeBob wakes up and we see him getting really excited because Mr. Krabs will announce the manager for the grand opening of the Krusty Krab 2. Now, the thing is that the Krusty Krab 2 is only seen in this movie, meaning you never see it again in episodes of SpongeBob after the release of this movie. According to show's creator, Steven Hillenburg, this movie was intentionally supposed to be the series finale. So all the episodes in the show will all lead up to this movie.
In other words, SpongeBob has canon.
Hey, Gary. Well, let's ask my wall of 374 consecutive Employee of the Month award.
Wait, are you telling me you've been working there for more than 30 years? Huh. Talk about older than they look. Maybe that's why Nickelodeon's holding on to the series, so that they can hold it on for like 30 years. Or it's probably money. Most likely money. We see that Mr. Krabs is opening up the Krusty Krab 2. Reasons? Of course. Meanwhile, we see Plankton spying Mr. Krabs.
God knows I've tried. I've exhausted every evil plan in my filing cabinet. From A to Y.
Apparently, Plankton doesn't know the entire alphabet. But when he finds out about Plan Z, he suddenly gets aroused by it.
Oh.
He believes this plan will work and...
Everyone will eat at the chum bucket, and I will rule the world!
Wait, what?
Since when Plankton ever wanted to take over the world?
In the show, his only motives is that he just wants to steal the Krabby Patty in the secret formula. Sure, the show established that he was a villain, but Plankton was more, well, comical, and never showed any hints about taking over the world. In this movie, he's notably more evil, like enslaving the Bikini Bottom, or hiring a hitman to kill SpongeBob and Patrick. Is this out of character? Not really, no. It's just the way they wrote Plankton in this film turns him a bit of a generic villain. Meanwhile, Mr. Krabs starts the ceremony.
We paid $9 for this?
I paid 10.
He then announced that the new manager for the Krusty Krab 2 is Squidward. SpongeBob then makes a complete fool out of himself and is soon distraught by this.
For crying out loud, SpongeBob! You didn't get the job!
What?
You did not get the job! You're a great fry cook, but I gave the job to Squidward because being manager is a big responsibility. Well, let's face it, he's more, mature than you. What I'm trying to say is, you're just a kid. And to be a manager, you have to be a man.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. SpongeBob is known for being a goofball, immature, very hyperactive, and sometimes annoying. Squidward, on the other hand, is more serious and debatably one of the most intelligent characters in the whole show.
I totally see why Mr. Krabs would choose Squidward over SpongeBob. I say kind of because, well, what was that Mr. Krabs called Squidward?
He's a loyal, hard-working employee.
Loyal and hardworking. Yeah, no.
Squidward isn't loyal, nor hardworking. In fact, we had episodes where he sleeps on the job, being disrespectful to Mr. Krabs and his customers, and most of all, he just hates his job. In fact, he tried to quit once. SpongeBob is the complete opposite, so really, he's the one that deserves it. So we see SpongeBob walking off depressed and drifting off into the sunset. And then a wild naked Patrick appears. Wait. Meanwhile, we kind of meet two new characters, Mindy and King Neptune. I say kind of because they changed King Neptune's design. That's an odd choice. Now, I just want to point out that King Neptune in this film is such a large ham.
Stolen the royal crown you cannot deny.
You think I'm stalling?
Where am I, in crazy town?
Here's a fun little game. Caption this based on this one image. I dare ya. As for Mindy, well, she's pretty much used as a plot device. Her only contributions is stopping her father from killing Mr. Krabs, giving SpongeBob and Patrick their mustaches, and stalling her father long enough so they can get his crown back. But to be honestly fair, she is 10 times better than this guy. Plankton steals her crown and Neptune freaks out. We cut to a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff where we see SpongeBob still sobbing after the ceremony. Patrick shows up, and how does he cheer SpongeBob up? They get drunk, have ice cream together. And another one. And another. And another. Guys, I think you two might have a problem. The two eventually passed out after their get together, and SpongeBob realized that he's late for work.
Mr. Krabs.
Oh man, he's pissed. We cut to see King Neptune arriving at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs gets really ecstatic, but not for too long when Neptune accuses him for stealing the crown. Okay, Neptune, you have to have proof in order to make such an accusation.
I stole your crown, signed Eugene Krabs!
Oh, come on. Anyone could have wrote that he stole the crown.
Eugene Krabs, leave a message! Hi, Mr. Krabs, this is Clay, the guy you sold Neptune's crown to. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks again for selling me the crown. Neptune's crown. Neptune's crown. Which is now in Shell City. Goodbye.
Okay, I have two things to say. One, that was oddly convenient for a telephone to show up and answer. And two, you're telling me that this guy went beyond the Bikini Bottom into the deadly trench with furious and hungry looking monsters and made it up to the shore at Shell City in under one night? How is that even possible?
What happens when you put logic into SpongeBob? It hurts your brain.
Oh look, SpongeBob's here. Maybe he might resolve this solution.
I have worked for Mr. Krabs for many years and always thought he was a great boss. I now realize that he's a great big jerk. I deserve that manager's job, but you didn't give it to me because you say I'm a kid. Well, I am 100% man, and this man has got something to say to you.
Well, Mr. Krab is totally screwed as Neptune almost turned him into a stuffed crab. So, wait. No court, no trials, just immediate execution? I mean, there was an episode where SpongeBob became Mr. Krab's lawyer to defend him in court. No? Seems fair enough. SpongeBob tells King Neptune that he wants to go and get his crown back.
You go to Shell City?
Mindy comes in to tell Neptune to stop and suggested to give SpongeBob a chance to find his crown. Also, Patrick for some reason has the hots for Mindy.
Because the last thing I need for my SpongeBob movie is to have a love interest.
Mindy gives them a bag of wind, and Neptune decides to give them under 6 days for them to retrieve his crown, and as for right now, freezes Mr. Krabs.
Turn on the AC. Mr. Krabs! Oh no, this is terrible! Who's gonna sign my paycheck?
Employee of the month, ladies and gentlemen. So SpongeBob decides to bring Patrick and Squidward. Loyal and hardworking, am I right? SpongeBob and Patrick immediately go off on their adventure, and the operation begins. They get into a promotional car called the Patty Wagon. Does it taste good?
Hey, I thought you didn't have a driver's license.
You don't need a license to drive a sandwich.
Yeah, I remember the episode where SpongeBob learns how to drive a shift-stick vehicle. And so we have our heroes go off on their adventure. They soon reach the end line of the Bikini Bottom, and two fish heads bet they won't last long. They challenged the bet and made it for like 12 seconds before their car got stolen.
Your face!
Meanwhile, we see Plankton entering the Krusty Krab and actually seals the formula. Yes, Plankton actually wins. He takes the formula and now he's selling Krabby Patties at the Chum Bucket. Almost everyone is eating there instead at the Krusty Krab. Man, they really don't give a crap about Mr. Krabs at all. Plankton's wife Karen tells him that SpongeBob and Patrick are on their journey to get Neptune's crown back. So what does he do? Hire a hitman, of course.
A hitman? In the SpongeBob movie. Rated PG.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. I like Dennis as a villain. He might be the most intimidating villain in the entire series. The moment you first see him on screen, you know this movie is going to take a dark turn in contrast with the show. I mean, he ripped those idiots' mouths off and kicked one of the thugs so hard that he flies out so fast that it made the ship sink even lower. He's voiced by Alec Baldwin, and I have to say he did an amazing job for making this villain and sounding as intimidating as possible. We cut back to SpongeBob and Patrick, who are still traveling without their car, but then they soon found it. However, they need to find the key, which happens to be at the Salty Spittoon? Sure, let's go with that. And yes, there is a guy eating a bowl of nails without any milk. Now that's one of the things I love that makes a good film adaptations. Pointing out Easter eggs and references that the fans might get. I like that. It's like a little bonus. So Patrick decides to make a distraction. This could only end so well.
I have to use the bathroom.
Perfect. SpongeBob gets mad at Patrick, and ironically, they're distracting themselves by having a bubble party? Okay. The people at the place notice a single bubble, and that's not good. The man who's in charge of the place gathers everyone in a group and plays the Goofy Goobers theme song, a song that SpongeBob and Patrick almost persuade to sing. By the way, those faces. Enjoy those faces because those are the most bizarre faces you will ever see in this movie. Well, maybe almost.
Goofy Goobers, yeah!
Goofy, goofy, goober, goobers, yeah!
Hey everybody, it's SpongeBob and Patrick from season 6!
Which one of you babies was it?
It was him. He did it. I've never even eaten it. Goofy, goofy, goober, goobers, yeah!
They manage to get the key and continue off on their journey. Meanwhile, again, we see that Squidward discovered that Plankton is selling Krabby Patties at the Chum Bucket and immediately finds out that Plankton was the one that stole the crown. Now he wants to turn in Plankton right now. Okay, I'm liking this. We could have Squidward team up with Sandy, Mrs. Puff, maybe Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and heck, just throw in Gary along. Then they could team up together to take Plankton down and turn him in while SpongeBob and Patrick go get the crown. Or have Plankton mind control the citizens of the Bikini Bottom with the Chum Bucket helmets, having Squidward completely surrounded and hopeless.
One of us, Google gobble, Google gobble, one of us, Google gobble, one of us.
So we see SpongeBob and Patrick laughing about their journey. They eventually stop to get ice cream. Yep, nothing suspicious about this place at all. Ignoring the ominous field and the deadly looking skeletons, it's all about that ice cream. But of course it's a trap. They get chased down by a giant monster, jump out of the paddy wagon, and the sea monster eats the wagon. Does the car still taste good though? SpongeBob and Patrick are bewildered at what just happened, and they reach at the edge of the trench. SpongeBob then gets all depressed and suggests to give up, thinking that Mr. Krabs and Neptune were right all along.
We do not worship him.
Patrick, you've been wearing the same Goofy Goober peanut party underpants for 3 years straight. What do you call that?
Worship? Oh, you're right, SpongeBob. We are kids.
However, Mindy shows up and she wants them to encourage on their journey. We also get to see what happens at the Bikini Bottom.
Sandy? Mrs. Puff?
Okay, how the heck did they got mind controlled?
I mean, you only get these buckets only at the Chum Bucket. Okay, Mrs. Puff, maybe? But Sandy? If she saw the Chum Bucket selling Krabby Patties, you would think she would be a bit suspicious. SpongeBob asks if her father can do anything.
My father's too distracted by his bald spot to do anything.
Squire, will you hurry?
So you see, you can't quit. The fate of Bikini Bottom rests in your hands.
You know what, Mindy? Why don't you do something? I mean, we don't know anything about you. I mean, yes, you're nicer compared to your father, and you know every sea creature's name in the entire ocean, but what can you do? Can't you do, like, anything? At all?
Anyway, Mindy, of course, gives SpongeBob and Patrick mustaches with her.
My mermaid magic.
She's the daughter of King Neptune, right?
And my one-tail fin. I command the two of you to turn into men. Open your eyes.
Oh my gosh, Patrick, you have a mustache!
So do you!
So they get excited about having their mustaches, heh, it's seaweed, and they jump off the cliff instead of taking the stairs.
Patrick,
Yeah, buddy?
why did we jump over the edge instead of taking the stairs?
Because... well...
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land.
Okay, no, that didn't happen. So SpongeBob and Patrick cheer victoriously, and they head on in the Forbidden Trench.
Musical!
And yeah, I like this song. I know it's a parody, but I don't care. I think it stands on its own. It's catchy. Admit it, you hummed this song after this movie came out. So after the song, they almost finally made it to Shell City, but they're stopped by Dennis and rip off their mustaches.
This is what a real mustache looks like.
Is he a mermaid?
Thanks, Patrick! Now I have the weirdest image in my head right now.
It was very specific.
Plankton?
For some reason, he wanted me to step on you.
Step on us?
Yeah, that way you'll never find out that he stole the crown. Perhaps I've said too much.
Dang it, Dennis. This is what happens when villains monologue for too long, and because of that, you are now squashed under a giant boot. So the so-called Cyclops, sure, let's go with that, takes them away to a gift shop, and SpongeBob and Patrick are trapped in a fishbowl.
Wait a second.
Oh, so that's what happened to Mr. Puff.
Okay, so let's talk about this Cyclops. He's insane. He never takes his helmet off, or his suit in general. In fact, it looks like he never even cleans it. Oh, and he does an evil laugh. I sometimes question if this guy is even human or not.
He's making a humorous diorama of Alexander Clam Bell.
Oh my gosh, you mean it makes calls from the ocean?
You think so?
Patrick,
And now we get to... the saddest thing in the entire series.
The Cyclops takes SpongeBob and Patrick out of the fishbowl and placed them on the desk to be slowly deteriorated and dried up by the heat. So, I remember watching this scene for the first time, and yes, I will admit, I did cry. I think a lot of kids around my age when this film came out cried during this scene. The fact that we're seeing our two main characters slowly dying in front of our eyes is the reason why a lot of people call this the saddest moment in SpongeBob history. Out of all the shows, SpongeBob would probably be the last place you would check that would make you tear up. I never thought that a movie about a talking sponge and his silly sea star friend would invoke such an emotion out of me.
I'm a goofy goober, yeah. You're a goofy goober, yeah. We're all goofy goobers. Goofy, goofy, goober, goober.
These are characters we've been watching since our childhood. Characters that made us care, that made us laugh. Characters that we've been watching for years. And because of that, it makes this scene a whole lot stronger.
However, there's a little itty bitty teensy witty problem I have with this. Really?
Did we really have to cut away to the pirates at this time and moment? This is the other reason why I don't like this supposed framing device. It makes this scene set off the mood. I mean, come on.
That's the end of SpongeBob. Come here, you.
Wow, movie. Thanks for playing with my emotions.
So our heroes are now dead. But because they use the Tears of Friendship, it activates the fire sprinklers and it revives our two heroes. They immediately get Neptune's crown, but are suddenly caught by the Cyclops.
Is this real life?
SpongeBob and Patrick finally exits Shell City and uses the bag of wind that Mindy gave them earlier in the film. Oh, so that's where he keeps his secret box. So they use the bag of wind, but because Patrick is an idiot, they lose the bag of wind and it drifts off into the ocean.
Don't worry, folks. We have an alternate solution here.
I can take you there.
Yeah! David Hasselhoff comes out of nowhere to help out SpongeBob and Patrick. Because reasons.
So yeah, Hasselhoff offers them to take them back to the Bikini Bottom, and they insisted, even though Hasselhoff and the Cyclops are pretty much the same exact size.
Cyclops? No. David Hasselhoff? A-okay.
So as Hasselhoff takes them back, we are cut back to the Krusty Krab 2 where Plankton reveals to Mr. Krabs that it's been 6 days already. Wow, time really flies fast under a 90-minute movie. King Neptune comes in to execute Mr. Krabs, but Mindy, of course, stops him. We are cut back to SpongeBob and Patrick on the SS Hasselhoff where they see a floating boot following them, and it reveals to be Dennis, and to be honest, it's a good chase sequence. Dennis chases after them. No one dares assault the Hasselhoff.
Make it worth your while.
It's gonna take a lot more than 5. What is this?
That, sir, is 5 goober dollars. Legal tender at any participating Goofy Goober. I got bubbles. Fun at parties.
Huh, that was extremely useful. But he still doesn't prevail and proceeds to kill them. But he soon collides to a sailboat. Yep, he's dead. So King Neptune has had enough of Mindy's crap and locks her out of the restaurant. He then proceeds to kill off Mr. Krabs so he can have his first ever crab sandwich, and it makes Plankton a lot more sadistic than he should be. Finally, SpongeBob Patrick reached the Bikini Bottom.
Said anything about floating?
Initiating launch sequence.
Okay. I guess David Hasselhoff is a robot. Headcanon accepted. So he shoots SpongeBob and Patrick straight down towards the Krusty Krab 2 and precisely stop King Neptune from frying up Mr. Krabs. Instead, he fries up Hasselhoff. Neptune is happy his crown is back, but Plankton then rain on his parade. Man, Neptune must really love his crown. So Plankton used Neptune to destroy SpongeBob. SpongeBob then makes a big I am what I am speech about him being a kid.
Mermaid magic. Or managerial promotion. Or some other third thing can make me anything more than what I really am inside. A kid. But that's okay!
What? What's going on?
'Cause I did what everyone said a kid couldn't do. I made it to Shell City, and I beat the Cyclops, and I rode the Hasselhoff, and I brought the crown back!
Stop. Hold on for a second. Did SpongeBob just got character development?
Yeah, he actually grows as a character. Sure, he may be a kid at heart, but he still managed to survive and got Neptune's crown back.
So yeah, I'm a kid, and I'm also a goofball, and a wingnut, and a knucklehead McSpagatron!
What's going on here?
But most of all,
Hey, settle down. Take it easy. What the
After the awesome climax, Plankton is then sent off to jail, assumedly to be never seen again because this was intentionally supposed to be the series finale. Neptune finally unfreezes Mr. Krabs and apologizes, and Mr. Krabs apologizes to SpongeBob and gives him something that he should have deserved since the beginning of the film.
Everybody, there's something I need to say first. I just don't know how to put it.
I think I know what it is. After going on your life-changing journey, you now realize you don't want what you thought you wanted. What you really wanted was inside you all along.
Are you crazy? I was just gonna tell you that your fly is down.
Silly Squidward, this is SpongeBob SquarePants. We don't have time for your sappy morals.
And our movie ends off with SpongeBob being the new manager for the Krusty Krab 2. Oh, and get this, Mr. Krabs finally gives him a raise. A single penny. Great. Oh yeah, I should probably mention this, but this film has an after credits scene.
You folks have to leave.
What? Say that again, if you dare.
You folks have to leave.
Okay.
Okay, to be honest, that was really funny.
And that was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Do I think it holds up? Yes! For the most part.
What makes this movie special is that it is a love letter to anyone who grew up and watched the show. And as a movie on its own, it's a really good flick. That doesn't mean this movie is perfect though. Not every movie is. Plankton is too evil and never had any means to take over the world. Mindy is flat and uninteresting, and some of the jokes were a little too immature even for SpongeBob standards. The pirates were barely used and kinda ruins that sad moment. However, despite what I said, there's a lot of things I like about this movie. First off, the animation. Holy crap, was it a step up from the show. I love the amount of detail that they put into this film. There are like more bubbles than they were used on this show. I like Dennis as a villain, probably the most threatening villain in the entire series. The scene that made me bawling as a kid. The songs, how much the stakes were risen. Phil, David Hasselhoff. SpongeBob was given some decent character development. That awesome climax. For a Nickelodeon film, this was actually a pretty good movie. How come Nickelodeon stopped making animated films after this one until the sequel? For the record, it did really well at the box office, grossing over $140 million. I mean, it's not like the Powerpuff Girls movie, which it did poorly at the box office. I don't get it. I mean, we could have got a film based on the Fairly Odd Parents, or Danny Phantom. Ooh, or even better, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh wait, that example.
Yeah, this would be the last animated film by Nickelodeon Movies until recently in 2015, another SpongeBob movie called The SpongeBob Movie Sponge Out of Water was released. What do I think of it? Well, that might be another story. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I've been meaning to make videos like this in a long time. What do you guys think? Do you think I should make more? I'm curious. Anyway, stay safe and thanks for watching.
This is Mayhem, and if Viacom takes this video down, fight me. Great, he's naked.